comes to pray every Easter. And it is the Patriarch of this newly assertive Orthodox Church who has finally agreed to a historic meeting with the Pope.
Religion is important for many Russians, again, part of their identity increasingly. But as the Russian Church struggled to find its feet after the Soviet collapse, it really saw the Catholic Church as competition. It was very wary, very suspicious. And there was a lot of suspicion too about Pope John Paul II, the Polish Pope, and the sense that he was far too political. It's certainly true that Moscow is far more comfortable now with Pope Francis, the Argentinian. But there's also a sense today of a common threat for Christians, that Christians are being persecuted in the Middle East, and this is a time when all Christian churches should be working together.
This meeting is a symbolic meeting. Nobody, I think, should expect that the day after the meeting the world will change. However, I think that every step of common response to common challenges and questions is something that should be taken into consideration and supported.
Well, this is the main Catholic church here in Moscow, and there's a particularly big congregation tonight because it's Ash Wednesday. But in Russia as a whole, there is a very small number of Catholics. They're in a very tiny minority, just a few 100,000 across the country. But people here have said that they welcome this meeting between the Pope and the Patriarch very much.
Many Russians, we have to admit, they have some prejudices about Catholics. They think that Catholics are foreigners, by default hostile to Russian culture, foreign to Russian culture. For me, as a Russian Catholic priest born in Moscow, this is of course quite painful to hear something like that. And I think that after this meeting, so many people will see, oh, okay, so if the Patriarch finds it necessary to meet the Pope, if it's possible for him, why not for us?
There are still serious disputes between the two churches, but there's even talk in Russia now that a papal visit here could be possible one day. Certainly, this meeting in Cuba is a very important first step towards healing a rift that's now almost 1,000 years old.